From the guys who brought you Fight Night picks, and for a short time, hitting above the Mendoza line, comes the Allen Brothers' next project. Let's tear the cover off and join in 15-minute card breaks.
This is a really special episode today, and listen, I'm looking forward to it. 15-minute card breaks. As always, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at 15min card breaks. Craig Allen FNP, Matt Allen FNP. Now that we have that out of the way, I don't know what circuit went wrong in our brains when we were kids, but Matt, for me, Pete Rose, I wouldn't say he was a hero, but I would say that I looked up to him in the fact that just the nickname alone, I mean, Charlie Hustle, this is a guy that holds 4 all-time MLB records in terms of games played, plate appearances, hits, 4,256 total hits. And it's absolutely insane. I mean, the guy won Rookie of the Year in 1963 for the Reds. In 1985, at the age of 44, he was still an All-Star. He won an MVP in 1973. He played up here in Canada for your Montreal Expos. I mean, listen, the guy had an absolute hell of a career. It's definitely a shame that he's not in the Hall of Fame, but this was one of those guys that, listen, if you don't have the skill, you got to play with hustle. I know we played sports with guys like that. I can think of one guy right off the bat that maybe wasn't the best guy on the team, but he was always out there trying his hardest. And it just so happened that Pete Rose had both of those things. Wonderful skill and a knack for beating the hell out of opposing players and playing the hell out of the game of baseball.
He would have fit in perfectly in today's generation. Like, that's the thing. People are like, hey, make baseball more exciting. Pete Rose made baseball exciting, and that was the really cool thing. Like, I still talk about the fact that he ran over the catcher during an All-Star game once. Who does that? Like, the All-Star game is a chance for, like, players to be buddy-buddy, and it's an opportunity for the fans. But Pete Rose cared so much about getting a run in an All-Star game that he was willing to run over the catcher just to get that one run. It made no sense, but also all the sense in the world. He was just someone who went out there and tried really, really hard. And at the end of the day, you kind of have to appreciate it for what it was worth.
3-time batting champ, World Series MVP, 3-time World Series champ, Silver Slugger, 2-time Gold Glove, Rookie of the Year, MVP, and 17-time All-Star. He had a career 79.8 WAR. And only 160 home runs, a career 303 average. So today what we're going to be doing is opening a box of 2020 Leaf Charlie Hustle edition. There's guaranteed to be a Pete Rose autograph in there. And listen, I know Pete Rose autographs are like leaves on the trees. There's a lot of them out there. Nowadays. But I don't have one, and I've always really wanted to open one of these boxes. So I'm eager to get your thoughts. I mean, listen, it's a 10-card set plus one autograph card. I think it's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Again, we have a lot of weird memorabilia around this. I should say Craig has a lot of weird memorabilia around this office of just like weird fighters or players who like we liked growing up. So this will definitely fit right in with the rest of the collection.
All right, Matt. Well, let's tear the cover off and get started on the Pete Rose Charlie Hustle edition. I mean, the craziest thing about Pete Rose, and I'll pull out the cheese cleaver to get us started, but the craziest thing about Pete Rose is he was born in Cincinnati and got to play for his hometown team until he was 45. And obviously there were stints with the Phillies. There was a little bit of time spent with the Montreal Expos. But, I mean, one of the wildest careers in all of sports, let alone baseball.
Oh, without a doubt. Growing up being a massive Yankees fan, you always heard Pete Rose's name talk about Derek Jeter. And, oh, could he ever get to that hits record? And let's be honest. You kind of knew once Jeter started falling apart with his injuries and whatnot near the end of his career, it wasn't going to happen. But it was a fun race while it lasted. I know 2010, Matt was really excited for Jeter to maybe break that record. But Pete Rose, again, it's wild. It's kind of like John Stockton's assist record. He's just so much better than most other guys when it came to hitting for contact. And I know people talk about him as the greatest switch hitter of all time. What I think are greatest switch hitters of all time, for me, it's either Pete Rose or Mickey Mantle. I really can't think of two other better ones.
So it's kind of crazy. I'll pop it in reverse because it comes in a plastic pack, and at the top you have the autograph. So we'll go from the bottom up to the top, and they do not make this easy to open. So I'll go a little bit slow. Oh, is it stickered? No. All right, so there we go. So Charlie Hustle, we'll go in reverse order. Okay, so the first card that we have right there, Pete Rose. I mean, listen, did they have the pictures of the logos of the teams? Maybe not, but that one, obviously a Phillies card. Rose's style of play embodied the blue-collar work ethic America prided itself upon in the 70s. Again, he was 1963 Rookie of the Year, and it's crazy. Like, he played all the way into the 80s.
There you go.
He played professional baseball for more years than I've been alive so far.
There he is with the Expos right there. I mean, obviously, no logo on the hat. There you have him again. Rose is the Major League Baseball career leader in hits at bats, singles, and games played, the hit king. Again, just absolutely wild. And it was good for him, too, that when they had the All-Star game in Cincinnati just a few years ago, they did include him in it because he's pretty well been blackballed out of baseball due to the whole gambling scandal. Can't be a manager gambling on yourself, but we've seen it in other sports where you can gamble on yourself recently, and yeah, just a little bit of a weird one there.
It really is. Hopefully baseball can get their act together and hopefully put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame one day.
Pete Rose, born in 1941. He turned 80 this year. There you have another one. If you grew up a baseball fan in the 70s and 80s, you probably couldn't help but be a fan of Charlie Hustle, or you grew up in the 90s, and you knew Pete Rose too. There you go. Charlie Hustle loved baseball. It was 100% commitment to the game, manifested itself. 100%. There's an oldie but a goodie of old Pete Rose. There's number 1 in the set, 17-time All-Star. And then as you can see, Charlie Hustle with the Expos on that one. And there we go, Matt.
There you go.
There's our Pete Rose autograph. And listen,
an Expos one,
I'm
too?
actually really happy that we ended up with an Expos one. That couldn't have played any better. You can see it there. A little difficult. Oh, maybe we'll bring it up. There you go. The Pete Rose autograph. So, I mean, hey,
really
that couldn't have played out better for the boys with 15-minute card breaks. I mean, big Canadian baseball fans, the old Pete Rose. Make sure we put that to sleep.
I gotta say, I mean, as a Canadian baseball fan, probably couldn't have ended up any better that we got the Pete Rose Charlie Hustle autograph on an Expos card. And Matt, I mean, for Pete Rose, we talked about it, a guy that played from 63 to 86. You look at it in Montreal, he played in 1984 at age 43. And I mean, was it one of his best seasons? No. But it was definitely a memorable one, especially for, again, Canadian baseball fans.
Yeah, without a doubt. I still can't believe of all the teams that we could have got, we do get an Expos one. It really could not have worked out any better.
Yeah, so the Pete Rose Charlie Hustle edition, I mean, it was one of those ones that wasn't overly expensive. I picked it up off of Blowout Cards, and yeah, I mean, you're guaranteed to get one autographed Pete Rose card per box. There's a 10-card base set that goes along with it, and if you're a big Pete Rose fan, maybe this is a pretty good one to add to your collection, but like, I'm not joking. It's not my favorite card that I have in my entire collection, and that's one of those things that we're going to go over with 15-minute card breaks. It might not be always breaking either blaster boxes, hobby boxes, cases, whatever it may be. It might just be a chance for us to both go back through our collections, because I know we've got some pretty cool cards going back through, but this is one of those ones that I'm definitely going to keep in the office, and yeah, I've always wanted a Pete Rose autograph and a Pete Rose card, and it just so happened it was on an Expos one.
Worked out great.
All right, well, I'm really looking forward to it. 15-minute card breaks. Listen, it's going to be 15 minutes or less. I can tell you that much, unless we're going to go really into detail. Maybe we end up branching off into some shows. Maybe we end up branching out into some podcasts talking about some of those sports out there, baseball, football, basketball, whatever it is. You let us know down below in the comments section, A, what you thought about the old Charlie Hustle, and B, what you'd like to see from us in the future, because it's going to be ever evolving. We're not just married to the old Fight Night Picks. No. We're looking to branch out and do something special. If you haven't tossed us a like or a sub, please do so as we look to build this new channel. I'm really looking forward to it, Matt. So as we did with the old Charlie Hustle, let's do it in style. Let's tear this cover off.